Welcome to the Pathfinder podcast. Today is June 6, 2024, the 80th anniversary of D-Day. Today is a solo podcast offering a pause in your day-to-day life to take some time and remember those who've gone before us. Examine the words and imagery that offer a window into the past and put yourself in that same day and time.
Soldiers, sailors, and airmen of the Allied Expeditionary Force, you are about to embark upon the great crusade toward which we have striven these many months. The eyes of the world are upon you. The hopes and prayers of liberty-loving people everywhere march with you. In company with our brave allies and brothers in arms on other fronts, you will bring about the destruction of the German war machine, the elimination of Nazi tyranny over the oppressed peoples of Europe, and security for ourselves in a free world. Your task will not be an easy one. Your enemy is well-trained, well-equipped, and battle-hardened. He will fight savagely. But this is the year 1944. Much has happened since the Nazi triumphs of 1940-41. The United Nations have inflicted upon the Germans great defeats in open battle, man to man. Our air offensive has seriously reduced their strength in the air and their capacity to wage war on the ground. Our home fronts have given us an overwhelming superiority in weapons and munitions of war, and placed at our disposal great reserves of trained fighting men. The tide has turned. The free men of the world are marching together to victory. I have full confidence in your courage, devotion to duty, and skill in battle. We will accept nothing less than full victory. Good luck, and let us all beseech the blessing of Almighty God upon this great and noble undertaking.
In the early 90s, I was in a charity golf tournament and was paired with a World War II veteran named Gus. Two things I remember about Gus. One, he had some ragged-looking tattoos on his forearms, and I asked about them. He told me the story of how he stormed Omaha Beach. After he told me his story, I asked, looking back, if he'd do it all over again, and he said no. I was shocked, since World War II was an existential crisis, but it shows you how traumatic storming Normandy Beach was.
My fellow Americans, last night when I spoke with you about the fall of Rome, I knew at that moment that troops of the United States and our allies were crossing the Channel in another and greater operation. It has come to pass with success thus far. And so, in this poignant hour, I ask you to join with me in prayer. Almighty God, our sons, pride of our nation, this day have set upon a mighty endeavor, a struggle to preserve our republic, our religion, and our civilization, and to set free a suffering humanity. Lead them straight and true. Give strength to their arms, stoutness to their hearts, steadfastness in their faith. They will need thy blessings. Their road will be long and hard. For the enemy is strong. He may hurl back our forces. Success may not come with rushing speed, but we shall return again and again. And we know that by thy grace and by the righteousness of our cause, our sons will triumph.
On June 6, 1944, the beaches of Normandy witnessed the largest amphibious invasion in history, commonly called D-Day, which is actually just a point in time used in all military operations. Operation Overlord marked the beginning of the end for Nazi occupation in Western Europe. More than 156,000 Allied troops from the United States, Britain, Canada, and other nations stormed the beaches under very heavy fire. The operation's success hinged on meticulous planning, unyielding courage, and unparalleled cooperation among the Allied forces. Visiting these beaches, Omaha, Utah, Gold, Juno, and Sword, allows you to appreciate the scale and the undertaking of tremendous obstacles the soldiers faced. While walking these sandy beaches, you can almost hear the echoes of the past and feel the weight of history. I've mentioned in past podcasts, it's important to get out and explore. Exploring history couldn't be more important. Operation Overlord was one of the most significant and transformative events of the 20th century. When visiting Normandy, we walk in the footsteps of those who fought on both sides of the conflict and get a sense for how the Allies and the Axis faced off. The beaches of Normandy and the strategic town of Carentan were the strategic point for taking back Europe from the Axis. The airborne divisions secured positions behind enemy lines, silencing the German artillery and securing a path for the amphibious force. Visiting the historic town of Sainte-Mère-Église gives some perspective on what the airborne forces faced. A trip to Normandy will not only give you a deep understanding of World War II, but also give you a chance to pay homage to the bravery and sacrifice of those who served. Carentan was a vital objective for the Allies. This small town nestled between Utah and Omaha beaches was crucial for linking the amphibious landing zones and ensuring the movement of troops and supplies onward to retake Europe. The Battle of Carentan was fierce and critical. Its capture prevented German forces from splitting the Allied beachheads. While exploring Carentan, we can still see remnants of the war. Buildings that bore witness to the intense combat and streets where paratroopers bravely fought house to house. The liberation of Carentan symbolizes the tenacity and determination of the Allied forces to secure every inch of ground. Lastly, visiting the cemeteries is essential to understand the profound cost of war. The cemeteries scattered across Normandy are a solemn reminder of the immense sacrifices made during World War II. The Normandy American Cemetery in Colville-sur-Mer is perhaps the most iconic. Overlooking Omaha Beach, this cemetery is the final resting place for more than 9,300 American soldiers. The perfectly aligned white crosses and stars of David, along with the memorial wall of the missing, create a powerful visual testament to the sacrifices made. Walking through this cemetery, one cannot help but be overwhelmed by the sheer number of lives lost and the magnitude of their contribution to the liberation of Europe. The Brittany American Cemetery in St. James, while smaller, is equally dramatic. It holds the graves of over 4,400 American soldiers who died in the Normandy and Brittany campaigns. This cemetery is set in the tranquil countryside and offers a more intimate setting to reflect on the personal cost of war. Each grave represents a story of bravery and sacrifice, reminding us of the individual lives behind these historic events. Lastly, the Sainte-Mère-Église War Cemetery is the final resting place for 2,000 soldiers, including many who fought the Battle of Normandy. This cemetery includes both British and German graves, offering a somber reminder that the horrors of war affected both sides. The inclusion of German soldiers highlights the shared humanity of all who fought and the senseless loss that war brings. Each of these cemeteries provides a unique perspective on the human cost of World War II. They are not just places of rest, but also places of reflection and learning. By visiting these sites, we honor the memory of those who perished and reinforce our commitment to remembering their legacy.